Hey everybody, I'm going to talk arrows today. It's almost archery season, or many places archery season has already started. Here in Pennsylvania, we start the end of the week, October 5th, except for the couple of earlier seasons. So just want to show you what I've been working on all summer while it's hot and you got nothing to do in the shop here. I've been working on arrows and all kind of arrows. Right here I have some old style autumn orange Easton arrows. Fletched them up with some gold and orange fletching, and they're 29 inches long with a 145 grain head, and they work fine out of my 45 to 50 pound recurve bow. I use these specifically for target shooting, but there's some old school arrows that I picked up from a buddy of mine, Gil. He had them laying around, doesn't use them anymore, so I got them off of him, and I said, you know what, I got to make them up. So these are some autumn orange gold, which we don't orange, which we don't see anymore. Here I have a couple of unique style arrows. In a video back, I made a few self-knock cedar arrows, and I wound up breaking the knocks off, not by shooting them into the targets. And what happened was I just broke a few by hitting each other, and not to say I'm a great shot or anything, but I broke them, and to save the arrows I wound up putting not regular knocks on them. I had to go to regular knocks. So these are just regular Port Orford cedar arrows. What I did is for cresting, I did some burning with a torch just to put a little design into it, makes them look a little primitive. They're pretty neat, and they're sealed. You got to seal cedar arrows if there's nothing on them. So there's a little bit of 3 coats of lacquer on these. Some of them I made with some bare razor heads, and the others I have made with ace broadheads. Nice, sharp, heavy head, and these will fly particularly out of my 45, 50 pound recurve. These are 28 inches long, with turkey fletch, some natural and some commercial, whatever I got around, I used. By the way, I'm not a proponent of just using helical fletching on my arrows. It's not always a necessity. I use straight clamp for my right and left wing feathers. As long as you use 3 left or 3 right on your arrow, it'll fly fine. If you want to use a helical setup, that's fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. They'll spin well, but I've never had a problem with straight fletch, so I continue to use it. To learn more about tutorials on making arrows and setting up forward of center, there's a lot of guys on the web, internet and YouTube, that'll help you out with that. Great tutorials out there. Clay Hayes, one of the younger new guys out there, he's does great work showing you how to set up arrows. Look at some of his stuff and he'll teach you exactly what you need to know. So there's other guys out there. If you're into primitive, there's Hunt Primitive at Ryan Gill. He does great work with cane arrows and other stuff. So if you're looking for specifics on arrow making, look at some of those videos. I'm just here to show you what you can do with arrows according to length and weight of head. Sometimes it doesn't matter. As long as you play with it a little bit, you can get the arrow to fly. For instance, these are cedar arrows from Wapiti Archery. I'm sure you can also get them online, wapitiarchery.com, I think. These were cedar arrows which came pre-sealed, stained, and crested, and I put the fletching and the knocks on them, and 125 grain heads. Now these are 28 inches long. They're for a 40, 45 pound bow, but they also shoot out of my wife's 35 and my grandson's 35 pound bow, because I left the length long, and they shoot great. So you can use multiple heads and length combinations to get them to fly. You don't have to waste arrows that way. I mean, I could always use these, but they needed arrows, and by just playing with the head and the length, I have a half a dozen for my wife and a half a dozen for my grandson. So there you go. It doesn't mean you can only use them for one thing. If you play around with them a little bit, you'll be able to make them work sometimes. Also, another arrow that I made this summer. Old school 2016 Easton, I guess a game getter it might have been. Just plain anodized green. They weren't even camo back then. My buddy also had some of these, and he let me have them. So I put a wrap on them of red and a couple of turkey fletch. And these have bear razor heads on them also, and I'll probably use some of these this fall. Like I said, they work also. I left them a little long, and they shoot out of my 45 to 50 pound bow. Here's another set of arrows I made with 1916 Game Getter old school arrows. These are a lighter weight. I use these out of a lightweight bow, mostly for target shooting when I go to 3D shoots. Wrapped with a yellow wrap and some turkey fletch. And the same thing, straight fletch, no big deal. And these have 125 grain heads, and they fly perfect out of my, that's my Elk Mountain Dave Guthrie bow, recurve bow, which is about 40 to 45 pounds. And I use that usually for target. And these arrows fly great out of that. My setup's always been a couple different things, but I'm still using one of my Ghost bows. This is a Great Northern Ghost, and I'll start out with the Cedar arrows this year and see how that goes. I may switch in the middle of the year. If I get a deer with one of these, I'll try one of the aluminum arrows just to switch it off a little bit, just to see what works. But they all fly fine. So by playing with the heads, playing with the weight, you can get things to work out. As you can see, I've been busy here just playing with arrows all summer long. So just remember to patronize your national and local bow hunting organizations. Compton Traditional Bow Hunters, that's our national traditional organization. Join that if you can. I also here in Pennsylvania with the state organization, United Bow Hunters Pennsylvania. Also support the New Jersey Bow Hunters across the river in New Jersey, just because they're helping out with conservation and keeping our rights alive. Also the NRA, don't forget those guys, Second Amendment rights and our right to hunt. And other organizations like the National Wild Turkey Federation, great conservation organization. Keep in mind to support some of those groups and have a good season. Like I said, play with your arrows if you need to. Change the heads, change the weight, the length, and you can usually get them to fly without having to get rid of them or sell them or throw them away or trade them out. You could probably do something with them. So that's it from here. You can see I've been busy, and good luck this season, everybody. Take care.